I woke up that morning and the first thing I saw was my papa sleeping outside our door on the cold cement floor, holding one dirty nylon bag tight to his chest, like somebody wanted to steal it from him. For one small second, my heart jumped because his eyes were closed and his shirt was torn. I thought something bad had happened to him in the night. I thought maybe he fought with armed boys, or maybe he was sick and could not stand up again. That picture of him lying there like that stayed inside my mind, strong like fire. I did not know it would be the beginning of the longest day of my life. But before that morning came, let me tell you how everything started. It was Friday evening, and the sky was grey, like rain wanted to fall, but the clouds were too tired. Mama was sitting in the parlor, pressing her fingers together in that way she does when she's angry, but she does not want to talk. Papa has said he would come home early because he wanted to check my homework and see my new drawing of a bird I made. I was excited because he always laughs when he sees my drawings, even the ones that look funny. But the night kept getting darker, and Papa did not come. I sat on the plastic chair beside Mama and tried to stay awake. I kept looking at the clock on the wall. It was that old yellow clock that always makes tick, 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 like it is complaining about something. By 10 o'clock, Papa was not back. By 11 o'clock, Mama's eyes were red like pepper. By midnight, she stood up and locked the door and said we should go and sleep because she did not have energy for stress. When we entered the room, the air felt heavy. I could hear Mama breathing fast. I could tell she was angry, but also worried. I lay down on the mattress beside her, but sleep refused to come. My mind was running up and down like children in break time. I wanted to ask Mama if we should wait more, but I kept quiet. After some time, I heard small noise outside, like footsteps, then silence. I wanted to get up and check, but Mama held my hand. She did not see anything, but I knew she wanted me to stay inside. So I closed my eyes and tried to sleep, even though my heart was beating fast. Morning came, and when Mama opened the door, that was when we saw Papa lying there. The nylon bag was still in his hand. Mama almost stepped on him. She shouted his name with anger inside her voice, thinking he was drunk. But I moved closer and saw his face well. He looked tired, not drunk. And the nylon bag looked important, like it was the reason he slept outside. That was when everything changed for me. That was when I knew something big had happened in the night. The truth was hiding inside that nylon bag, and it was only waiting for the right moment to come out.
Mama's shout that morning was loud enough to wake the whole compound. She stood there with her wrapper tied anyhow, staring at Papa like he had done the worst thing in the world. She asked him why he slept outside, why he behaved like someone that had no family, why he wanted to disgrace her in front of neighbors. Her words were sharp, cutting the air like blade. But Papa just sat up slowly and rubbed his eyes. He looked weak, like he had been carrying a heavy load all night. I stood at the corner, watching both of them. My chest felt tight. I wanted to run to Papa, but I was afraid Mama would shout at me too. Our neighbor, Auntie Peace, pushed her curtain and peeped at us. Her eyes were wide, the kind that loves trouble. She whispered something to her sister, and they both stared. I hated that type of staring, the kind that makes your family look like a problem. Papa tried to stand, but he almost fell back down. That was when I knew something was really wrong. If he was drunk, he would still be talking plenty. But he was quiet, too quiet. His shirt had a big tear near the shoulder, and there was black dust on his arms. The nylon bag was still in his hand, and his fingers refused to open. He held it like someone who was afraid of losing the last thing he had in the world. Mama entered the house, still talking loud and angry. She said she did not have time for a grown man that wanted to behave like a small boy. She said she had work to do. Papa walked inside slowly and sat on the small stool beside the dining table. I followed him shyly and stood near the door. When Mama came back to the parlor, she continued her shouting. Papa did not answer her. He just stared at the floor, tired. Then, the nylon bag slipped from his hand and fell open on the rug. What came out made Mama stop talking immediately. 3 exercise books with burnt edges fell out first. Then one small pair of children's sandals that looked like it belonged to a very poor child. Then a transparent container of beans porridge with black charcoal powder all over it. The smell of smoke was still inside the bag. Mama bent down slowly. She picked one of the exercise books and touched the burnt edge. She looked at Papa as if she had just seen him for the first time. Papa coughed a small cough and held his chest. He said the school where he teaches had a fire. He said he rushed there because he wanted to save something for the children he teaches for free. He said he saw their things burning and he grabbed what he could. He said police stopped him on the road and held him for hours because they thought he was trying to steal things from the burnt building. He said by the time he was free to go home, he was too dirty and too ashamed to knock because he did not want to wake us with his smell and his torn shirt. Mama did not say anything. She just stood there, holding the burnt exercise book with her hands shaking a little. I moved closer to Papa and touched his arm. His skin was cold. That was when I understood why he slept outside. That was when I understood that something harder than the night had followed him home.
Papa sat on the stool, breathing slowly like each breath was heavy work. The morning sun was coming through our small window, touching the ash on his skin and making it look like he had walked through dust storms. Mama was still standing, holding the bonds book, but she was not shouting anymore. Her face had changed. The anger had gone somewhere else, and something softer was trying to come out, but she did not know how to bring it. I sat on the floor near Papa's leg and looked up at him. I kept thinking about the fire. I imagined flames climbing up the school walls. I imagined children's books turning to smoke. I imagined Papa running inside, coughing and trying to save what he could. My heart beat fast because I could see it all in my mind, even though I was not there. Papa opened the second exercise book and showed Mama the name written in front. It belonged to a boy called Emma. I knew Emma. He was the small boy Papa always talked about, the one who sold sachet water after school to help his mother. Papa always said that boy was very smart and that he never complained even when life was hard. Now his book looked like it had swallowed fire. Mama knelt down slowly and touched the pages. Her eyes looked wet, but she blinked fast, like she did not want anyone to see. She asked Papa why he did not tell her about the fire last night. Papa looked away and said he did not want her to worry, that things were already tight at home. He said he was trying to handle it alone so it would not add more trouble to her head. Mama sat on the floor beside him. She did not hold him, but she was close enough for their shoulders to touch. The house was very quiet. Even the compound outside was quiet, like everyone had stopped to listen. Papa told us how the fire started. He said one teacher forgot to turn off a small stove after warming food. The heat caught the curtain, and before anybody knew what was happening, the whole block was burning. He said people ran everywhere, shouting and carrying buckets of water, but the fire was too strong. He said he ran into the classroom because all he could think about were the children. He said he grabbed the things quickly and came out coughing. I watched him as he talked. His eyes looked tired, but his voice was calm. It felt like he had been carrying this story alone all night, like a big stone on his back. Mama touched the small sandals gently. She asked him who owned them. Papa said they belonged to a girl called Blessing. Her mother sells oranges by the roadside.
The girl always came to school with quiet eyes, like she was thinking about something bigger than her age. Papa said he found the sandals near the door and picked them because he knew Blessing would cry if she came to school on Monday and saw everything destroyed. Mama covered her mouth with her hand. Papa bent his head and wiped his forehead. The room felt full of sadness, but also full of something deep, something that made all of us breathe the same way. Then Papa reached for my hand. He squeezed it gently and told me he was sorry for not coming home early, that he did not want to scare me with the way he looked. I squeezed his hand back and told him I was just happy he came home at all. For the first time since the night before, Papa smiled a small smile. Mama looked at the smile and her shoulders relaxed. It was as if the house itself took a deep breath. The morning continued, but the story Papa told stayed hanging inside the room like smoke that refused to leave. It wrapped around us and joined us together, making us quiet, making us think, making us see each other differently.
After Papa finished talking, the whole house felt like it was carrying one big secret. Mama stood up slowly and told Papa to follow her to the bathroom so he could wash off the ash on his body. Papa tried to stand, but his legs shook like he had walked a very long distance. I rushed and held his arm. He looked at me and nodded, like he was saying, "Thank you," without using words. We moved together, one slow step at a time. While Mama boiled water and Papa tried to clean up, I sat alone in the parlor with the burnt books on my lap. I opened one of them and the smell of smoke came out. The pages were brown at the sides, but the children's handwriting was still there. I saw one picture Emma had drawn of his family under a mango tree. It had big smiles, like nothing bad ever happened to them. I sat there, staring at the picture, and feeling something painful in my chest. I wondered how Emma would feel when he found out his school building was gone. After some time, Mama brought Papa back to the parlor. His face was clean, but he still looked very tired. She spread a towel on the chair and told him to sit. The anger she had earlier was gone. Instead, she had this look on her face that I had only seen when someone was very sad but trying to stay strong. Papa leaned back and closed his eyes. Mama sat across from him and kept playing with her fingers. She wanted to talk, but did not know where to start. She finally asked him why he did not wake us when he got home. Papa said he heard us sleeping and he did not want to bring trouble into the room. He said he wanted morning to come first so he could explain properly. Mama looked at him and her eyes softened. She told him that a family should share everything, even the things that hurt. Papa nodded quietly, like he agreed, but was too tired to say it. Outside, the neighbors were already talking. I heard people saying Papa slept outside because he was drunk. Some said he fought with Mama. Some said he lost his job. All the stories were wrong, and hearing them made me angry. I wanted to shout and tell them what really happened, but Mama said I should not mind them. She said people will always talk, even when they do not know anything. Mama warmed small food for Papa, but when she brought it to him, he said he was not hungry. He just needed to rest. She kept the food aside and covered him with a wrapper. He slept almost immediately, like his body had been waiting for permission to shut down. While Papa slept, Mama cleaned the burnt items gently, wiping away the ash with a small cloth. She was very slow and careful, like the items were alive. She folded the books, washed the container, and placed the small sandals on a tray to dry in the sun. I watched her closely. Every time she touched something, her face changed a little, like her heart was talking to her. When she finished cleaning, she sat beside me. She told me that sometimes grown-ups make mistakes when they are tired or scared, But it doesn't mean they do not care. She said Papa had been carrying a lot on his mind, and she too had been stressed, so the both of them were losing connection without even knowing. I leaned my head on her shoulder. She wrapped her arm around me. For a long time, neither of us talked. We just sat there, listening to Papa breathe softly as he slept. The small sandals on the tray caught the sunlight and looked almost new again. The burnt books were stacked neatly on the table. For the first time that morning, it felt like the house was not as heavy as before. It felt like something was slowly healing itself, even if we didn't fully understand how yet. Papa slept for a long time. Deep sleep, the type that comes when someone has been fighting something heavy inside their heart. When he finally opened his eyes, the sun was already leaning toward afternoon. The parlor was quiet. Mama had taken the burnt books and sandals inside the bedroom so they would not get dust. I sat on the floor drawing small circles with my finger, waiting for Papa to wake up. He stretched slowly and sat up. For the first time that day, he looked around like he was truly seeing the house again. He asked where Mama was, and I told him she was in the kitchen. He stood and walked there, and I followed behind him softly like a small shadow. Mama was washing plates when he entered. She turned, saw him, and wiped her hands on her wrapper. They stood in front of each other without talking. The silence felt thick. I was sure Mama wanted to talk, but she did not know how to start. Then Papa took a small step closer and said he was sorry for keeping everything to himself. Mama nodded and said she was sorry for shouting and thinking the worst of him. They did not hug, but something warm passed between them, something gentle. When they came back to the parlor, Papa asked to see the burnt items again. Mama brought them out, placed them on the table, and Papa touched each one with a soft hand. He said he felt bad for the children, especially the ones he knew were struggling at home. He said Blessing had cried last week because her mother could not afford breakfast for her. He said Emma had been trying his best in school, even though he worked after classes. As he talked, his voice kept shaking a little. Mama listened closely. She told him that they would find a way to help those children, even if it was small. Papa looked surprised because he did not expect her to say that. But Mama said, when something burns, you do not throw everything away. You pick what remains and try to rebuild. Later that evening, Papa stepped outside to get fresh air. I followed him and sat beside him on the small bench near the door. The compound was noisy again, with people cooking, children shouting, and water splashing on cement. But beside Papa, everything felt calm. He told me he was sorry for making me worry. I told him that when I saw him lying outside, I felt something heavy in my stomach, like fear. He looked at me with gentle eyes and said he would not let me feel that way again, if he could help it. He said families should face things together, not hide them. Mama joined us outside, carrying the small sandals. She said she wanted to return them to Blessing's mother herself, so the woman would know something from the fire was saved. Papa held the books and said he would give them back to the children on Monday. Even though the school building had burned, he said they would find another place to gather and continue learning because giving up was not an option. As the three of us sat there, the sky turned orange. I watched Mama and Papa talk quietly, no shouting, no anger, just soft words. I saw the way their shoulders relaxed and how Papa's face looked lighter. For the first time in many weeks, everything in our house felt like it was settling into the right place again. I leaned on Papa's arm. Mama placed her hand on my back. The air was warm.
The evening breeze touched our skin. The burnt books and the small sandals were safe inside the house, waiting for Monday. And even though the school had burnt down, even though the night before had been hard and confusing, we were together. And that togetherness felt like the strongest roof in the world.